far in the Premier League this season, 1 defeat and 3. Well, it's a very warm welcome and thank you for joining us on this independent off-tube studio commentary. The 3 o'clock kickoff from the Etihad Stadium. The game has just got underway. Manchester City taking on Southampton, and Ralph Hasenhüttl's side really have lost a couple of very significant players over the summer. Haven't really bedded down with the new team as yet, although they'll be looking for some sort of joy this afternoon at the Etihad. We know that Manchester City will want to start on the front foot, be dominant, score early, and try and take the game to the visitors. Myself, Paul Szczerbakowicz, and James Larsson taking you through the action. James, can we predict an upset this afternoon?
I don't think we can, in fairness. You know, it is frightening just looking at that Man City at the starting 11, isn't it? It's the same every week. You know, they've got a second stringer that probably look pretty scary as well, so I'm afraid I can't see anything other than a Man City win. But they've got players that could cause a problem to them. The likes of Shea Adams and Armstrong up front. But you've got fancy City.
You do, absolutely. I think that the plan for Southampton, you would think, is to try and keep things quiet early on. City like to steamroller past teams in the first 15-20 minutes. But occasionally, if they don't score in that first 15-20 minute period, they can just go a little bit flat, and that's when their opposition perhaps can come to life. So from Ralph Hasenhüttl's side's point of view, they've just got to try and keep things tight early on. As a long ball goes forward now, looking for Gabriel Jesus. The ball is played away, picked up on the left-hand side now by Kyle Walker-Peters. Just remind you of the 2-11s very quickly. Ederson is in goal for City with a back four of Kyle Walker, Ruben Diaz, Nathan Ake and João Cancelo. 3 in midfield, Ilkay Gundogan, Fernandinho and Bernardo Silva, with Raheem Sterling, Jack Grealish and Gabriel Jesus as the attacking three. For Southampton, Alex McCarthy is in goal with a back four of Valentino Livramento, Jack Stevens, Jan Bednarek and Kyle Walker-Peters. Oriol Romeu plays as the holding midfielder. The 4 ahead of him are Nathan Redmond, James Ward-Prowse, Mohamed Elyounoussi and Shea Adams, with Adam Armstrong as the front man. I've seen a couple of other tactical variations which do suggest there may be 2 up front for Southampton, but you just feel as they need to keep as many people in midfield as possible.
Yeah, they have. They've got a bit of solidity in there with Romeu, protect the back 4. I think Ward-Prowse can drop that a little bit deeper as well. Obviously he's got a terrific selection of passes on him. But they've got a bit of pace on the counter as well, a bit of speed on the fullbacks. I'm intrigued to see how Walker-Peters is going to do on that left-hand side. Not somewhere I've seen too much of him. I'm sure he'll be looking to sort of cut in onto his right foot, but Walker-Peters against Walker.
It is on the same side, absolutely right. Yeah,
twister, but
not thinking of the commentators at all, were they? When they were thinking of the tactics of 2 managers today. But yeah, Walker-Peters, who at one stage, of course, was at Spurs with Kyle Walker as well, but the ball now into the penalty area. Have a bit of a chance here for Southampton. It is with Walker-Peters again. He bursts into the box. He's got a bit of space there. He thought about the shot, just lays it off to Redmond, who's waiting at the left-hand edge of the penalty area. Redmond trying to get past Gundogan, and he does manage it, breaks into the box, plays it square into the 6-yard box. It's deflected out by Ruben Diaz. Now, that is a bright move there for Southampton. They win themselves a corner.
Yeah, that was really bright. I took something there. I wasn't sure how Kyle Walker was going to fare. Well, cutting in on that right-hand side, he looks a real threat already. Kyle Walker-Peters, that is, a beg your pardon. So, yeah, promising signs already, early doors for the Saints.
It certainly is. They've got to use this set piece now. The big man Jan Bednarek, amongst others, is inside the penalty area. And so we can see it's going to be James Ward-Prowse, long-serving Southampton captain, waiting to take this corner kick. It's going to be a right-footed in-swinger from the left-hand side. Just coming up to 4 minutes gone. Independent off-tube studio commentary. Goalless in this game, goalless in the other 3 o'clock kickoffs across the Premier League so far. And it is Ward-Prowse with the corner now, aiming at the edge of the 6-yard box, but coming out to claim that one is Ederson. Rolls it out quickly, and suddenly Southampton could be caught out, because here comes Raheem Sterling, and he's looking for support. Lays the ball off now towards Bernardo Silva. Silva now finds Jesus, who was on the left-hand side this time. He goes back into the middle now. Chance here for the ball to be brought forward by João Cancelo. He likes to get forward, doesn't he, down the left-hand side he's playing today. But Southampton back in numbers. City couldn't quite keep the counter-attack going. It's with Fernandinho now. Back over towards the left-hand side. There's a ball into the box. 3 players waiting for it. It's cut into the penalty area. Swept away. And Livramento there puts a challenge in to at least get the ball away from his own box. Helped out there by Romeu. And Southampton now playing out from the back. That's impressive from the Saints. I think a lot of teams in that situation would have just looked to hoof it long. But in the end, they do try and play it long to Armstrong. And it's just a bit too long for him.
Yeah, the first real sign we've seen of anything from City. And there's so much danger across that front three, isn't it, with the likes of Sterling, Grealish creating all sorts, Jesus as well. And when you've got players like Gundogan and Bernardo Silva who can pop up in midfield with a goal too, it's going to be a long afternoon for Saints, you would imagine, but they've certainly started with a bit of confidence, haven't they? And as you say, look to build it up from the back there, which was, brave of them at the Etihad.
Absolutely, yeah. And in the end, they probably would have been a bit frustrated how easy they lost the ball. But here comes City now, and it's Jesus down the right, puts a cross in, looking for Sterling. That's a good header away, a necessary header there from Jack Stevens, getting his head to that one, putting it out for a throw to City down the right-hand side. Slowly but surely now, the possession for City is building up inside the Southampton half. Kyle Walker now with the throw to Jesus, who then rolls it back towards the halfway line here for Ruben Diaz. Square to Nathan Ake. Really emotional time for Ake in midweek, of course, scoring the goal for Manchester City, the opening goal against RB Leipzig, and then finding out that his father had actually passed away just a couple of minutes after he'd scored that goal. A nice tribute from him after the game as well. But he's in the 11 today, and he's looking to try and get into the 11. He didn't really get too much time in the first team last season, Nathan Ake.
No, he didn't. He played out a bit of left back as well. Obviously, it's such fierce competition in the defensive ranks at Man City. You wondered if he'd sort of been signed as a backup, but the amount they spent on him, the quality we'd seen from him down at Bournemouth, he's certainly got a lot to bring to this team. Terrific ball playing centre half.
Exactly, that's it. He's pretty much got the ball playing capabilities of a midfielder, really, which is exactly what Guardiola looks for in all his players, including his goalkeepers, really, when you see how confident Ederson is on the ball. But it is currently with Alex McCarthy, the Southampton goalkeeper, 6.5 minutes gone, and it is goalless. Also goalless between Burnley and Arsenal, Liverpool and Palace, and Norwich and Watford, and all those games are available on our service this afternoon. As the ball back with McCarthy again, clears it too long this time, and it is out for a throw down the left-hand side. Pep Guardiola will be very pleased to see almost a full Etihad Stadium today. Made a couple of comments in midweek that he would like to see more fans in. Although I do remember from years ago fans telling me across Premier League clubs that sometimes it is actually harder to get a Saturday afternoon ticket because all the season ticket holders that live nationwide make sure they can get across on a Saturday. They can't always get across in midweek, so sometimes you see that occasionally even at Anfield and at Old Trafford, that European nights there are a few empty seats compared to a Premier League. And we'll come back to that in a second, because here come Southampton now down the left. It was Armstrong's ball into the box, which is quickly swept away. It's back over on the left-hand side now with Elanusi. Takes on his man, is still able to get a shot away, which loops up after a deflection and drops easily into the hands of goalkeeper Ederson.
Yeah, it's looking bright from Saints. As I say, they're certainly not afraid to work it out to the flanks. They've got that pace in behind, and you wonder if the Saints goal is going to come from anywhere. Will it be from a counter, or do they back themselves to dominate enough of the ball to create a few chances for themselves?
Well, if they get the possession, I'm sure they would like to use the set pieces. I think is always the way that you can sometimes upset City. Although Ederson's certainly not poor at coming out for crosses, there is sometimes that little bit of indecision. We know that he sometimes likes to fly out from his goal as well, so sometimes sending an early ball into that corridor of uncertainty between defence and goalkeeper might be the way. But City playing out from the back, lose the ball. Ward-Prowse now finds Redmond, who switches play over towards the left-hand edge of the penalty area. Adam Armstrong now puts it onto his right foot, gets a shot away, which is stopped inside the 6-yard box by Ruben Diaz. He then sweeps that back towards the halfway line, picked up here by Jack Stevens for Southampton. Finds Oriol Romeu running into trouble there, with Gundogan and Sterling closing him down, but he gets the ball out to Walker-Peters on the left-hand side. Now it's with Adam Armstrong. Back to Jan Bednarek, now down the left here with Elanusi. Sliding in on that right-hand side is Jesus, who has started on the wing. Does look as though it's Sterling playing through the middle for the time being.
Yeah, unusual, because he's the only sort of out-and-out centre-forward in the City ranks, isn't he? And, you can't question a genius like Pep. I'm sure he's got all sorts of ideas up his sleeve, and maybe one of those ideas is moving Jesus outside.
Absolutely. I mean, he could probably throw Grealish up in the number 9 position for 10 minutes, because that's something that he's worked on in training. But it's always about having a little bit of variation. And as I say, perhaps the idea is to just have a two-pronged attack with two very quick players, perhaps interchanging. We might see Jesus switching into the middle with Sterling back over to the right. But Southampton are making a bit of a mess of playing out from the back. And the ball is out for a throw down the right-hand side. Ralph Hasen looking very smart today. He's normally a sort of smart casual or even a tracksuit wearing manager. He's got the full suit with the waistcoat on today as well. But the jacket is off now with the rather warm weather across the country this afternoon. But Southampton win the ball back now down the right-hand side. Have they won themselves a free kick? In fact, virtually no involvement from our referee, John Moss, in these first 10 minutes. Now a ball played through the middle, and this time it was Bernardo Silva charging through the middle, but the ball doesn't quite reach him. It's cleared to the halfway line. Kyle Walker gets there just ahead of Shea Adams, although Jesus can't pick up the loose ball. He then runs straight into Kyle Walker-Peters. It deflects out, and it will be a throw to Southampton down the left-hand side. Pressure there on Bednarik. Walker-Peters now having to play an early ball towards Shea Adams, who so far is playing on this left-hand side. Gets bumped into there by Ruben Diaz, who then gives away the free kick. But I think Pep would have expected his side to have seen a bit more of the ball and be a bit more forward-thinking than what we've seen so far. Yeah,
surprisingly so. You imagine, especially at home, them to dominate possession. But it's full credit to Royal Fires, and it was certainly come with a positive mindset. You touched on it there, the referee hasn't had too much involvement either. There's a pretty strong challenge on there that he just won't play on. So, from a neutral's point of view, it's an exciting start to this game. The Saints come forward here. They
do, and it's a cross which gets a slight deflection. There was still two Saints players waiting for it. It was Adams and Elanusi, but Ruben Diaz gets there first, heads it out, and it's going to be a corner kick. And the Saints really did well down this right-hand side. Again, City perhaps guilty of being a little bit pedestrian in getting players across to that right-hand side. And Ruben Diaz quickly nods it out and then turns to his players just to wake them up a little bit. But this set piece presents a good opportunity for Southampton. It's over on the right-hand side. It's going to be a right-footed outswinger from James Ward-Prowse. You can see Bednarik, Elanusi and Armstrong stood as a three just by the penalty spot. Here comes the outswinging ball towards the edge of the 6-yard box, headed up in the air by Fernandinho. Loose ball drops towards Romeu. Hooks it up in the air, but it was heading towards the edge of the penalty area, and it's cleared by Gundogan back towards the halfway line, but Walker-Peters is there for Southampton. Gives it to Bednarik, who's already tracking back to his own half, and the Saints stay in possession, but immediately a bit of pressure here on Bednarik as Jesus tries to close him down. He then plays it square towards Oriol Romeu. He goes back towards his goalkeeper. Long clearance now from McCarthy up towards the halfway line, taken down now by Elanusi. And there is a real spring in the step for Southampton here, but Armstrong's got some space, and we know how fast he is. He's breaking into the penalty area now, down the left-hand side, being stood up there by Ruben Diaz. The ball crossed in, headed out towards the edge of the area. Jack Grealish there brought down at the edge of his own box. Doesn't matter where he is on the pitch, doesn't matter what club he plays for, Jack Grealish, he always gets fouled, doesn't he?
Yeah, he always does. He buys defenders in so beautifully, doesn't he? And I've been so impressed with Southampton so far in this game. They've not been intimidated from the City press, have they? And Romeu in particular, he's played with his back to goal, but he's so strong in the middle of the park, and he's held the ball up nicely. They've got a bit of an outlet. They've been looking to move it out wide to the likes of Armstrong and Adams, and they've got a game plan, the Saints, and so far it's working all right for them.
It is well. I mean, I was expecting us to have seen a good few chances for City by now. 13 minutes on the clock, independent off-tube studio commentary. It's still goalless here between City and Southampton, still goalless across the other 3 o'clock Premier League kickoffs. In the early game today, Brentford beat Wolves by 2-0. Brentford scoring both their goals in the first half. Finished the game with 10 men after 2 yellow cards for Shandon Baptiste, but a big win, that first away win for Brentford back in the Premier League. But here's City trying to start an attack, but even before they get to the halfway line, there's Southampton pressing, and their Saints are off down the left-hand side now here with Kyle Walker-Peters. Gets away from Gabriel Jesus. Referee plays the advantage, which, well, Southampton, did they get the free kick in the end? I think they do. It's a grey area in football. When you watch rugby league or rugby union, you know how long the advantage is going to last for. In football, it seems to be a bit of a grey area. It seems to be how long the referee feels that he should allow the advantage to go on.
Yeah, it's a matter of interpretation, of course, and if they do leave it long enough and it results in a goal, then it comes up trumps for the referee. It paints them in glory as well. So I imagine there's a sort of reluctancy to blow up too early, but of all the men in the Premier League on an in-swinging free kick, there could be one much better than James Ward-Prowse.
Absolutely, this is a good opportunity here for Southampton. They've had a couple of corners, a couple of free kicks. They need to start using these. And it is Ward-Prowse standing over on the left-hand side. It's going to be an in-swinger, is it? There was Walker-Peters away for a bit of deception. He lifts that one. It's heading towards the back post, and it's a save from Edison. I just wonder, though, they're not congregating for a corner. Was there perhaps an offside in that? Or it may well be that the ball actually got a deflection off the Southampton head before it went out for a goal kick. Just see from this replay now as Ward-Prowse whips it in. I think there was a push there. The referee certainly spotted something, didn't he? I think the flag may have gone up.
Yeah, I mean, you could be the best defensive team in the world, and City aren't far from being that. They've got embarrassment of riches in defence, but when you've got a man of the calibre of James Ward-Prowse, it scares defenders, and that was a lovely ball in there. It certainly caused a bit of confusion amongst the ranks, and you touched on it yourself. It could well be a set piece for Saints to get something from this game.
Absolutely, Guardiola just trying to get some instructions out to his players. Would have been hoping for a brighter start than this, but Southampton give the ball away on this occasion. Long clearance from McCarthy, headed back by Kyle Walker. City starting again inside their own half here now with Ruben Diaz. He goes square to Nathan Ake. Back to Diaz again, and he rolls it back towards the goalkeeper Edison, being closed down by Elanusi, but Edison still confident enough to just play it short down the left-hand side for João Cancelo. So there's 5-6 Southampton players close to that City penalty area trying to press, but now they've got to track back because City do get out with the ball, and it's with Bernardo Silva down this left-hand side now for Jack Grealish. Grealish breaking into the penalty area, looking to try and play it square. He's appealing for a corner. Referee agrees, and this will be a City set piece now.
Yeah, smart from City. Worked it up that left-hand side with the likes of Cancelo, and he played it into Silva, who carried it over the halfway line, shuffles it out to Grealish, who just draws the defenders to him, brought it into the box, looked to get the cross. A cross goal, and ultimately it's been blocked to be a corner kick here for City.
Corner kick for City now. 16 minutes gone. A good opportunity here for the home side to test Southampton with this set piece. There's a couple of players waiting at the edge of the area. Jesus just at the edge of the 6-yard box being marked. It's going to be an in-swinger, a high in-swinger, pitched towards the back post, aiming at Fernandinho it was. But the City captain couldn't do anything with that. I think it was a bit of a waste when you think of how many people there were in the middle of the box to try and aim such a deep corner at one player. There's always a chance that could go wrong.
Yeah, and you've got to ask how realistic was it for Fernandinho to score from there. As you say, it's wasteful. It's floated over the head of anyone who's in and around the 6-yard box, and you're asking a lot of Fernandinho to score from that.
Certainly are. It's still goalless here, still goalless across all the other games. In fact, there's only been a couple of goals in all the championship games so far, kicking off at 3. So a slow start across the top two English divisions this afternoon. Long clearance now from McCarthy, aimed at Shea Adams. The ball loops up and heads towards Armstrong, but it's hooked away by Ruben Diaz, bouncing back towards the Southampton penalty area. Jack Stevens, who's going to get a lot more time in the first team now, with Vestergaard leaving Southampton. Of big players leaving Southampton in the summer. Vestergaard, Bertrand leaving on a free, Ings sold to Aston Villa. And you've got to say, although Armstrong's a good signing, the calibre of player that's left hasn't quite been replaced by the same calibre of players arriving.
Yeah, they've been weakened, I think, saying something. I know there's a bit of youthfulness that's come in there, which long-term could work for them. There might be an opportunity here.
It's a great chance here now, as you say, James, and the ball is rolled into the penalty area. Sterling trying to leave that one for Gundogan, who was charging into the box. And it wasn't too far away from working. This starts on the halfway line, and it's a great ball into the edge of the area. It's a great turn there from Sterling as well to try and find Gundogan.
Yeah, well, it's a word of warning, isn't it, to Southampton? They cannot be conceding possession in the middle of the park. City will just spring onto you like that, and they've got the calibre of play in the middle of the park to distribute passes like that through the middle. And City are growing slightly into this game, aren't they? Getting more and more dangerous. But I think if you're a Saints fan, 20 minutes or so in, just short of 20 minutes, you certainly would have taken a 0-0 at this point.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that Southampton will be very pleased with how the game has gone for them so far. Can say we've got our first 3 o'clock goal in the Premier League this afternoon. Watford have taken the lead away at Norwich, and it's Emmanuel Dennis, Nigerian striker, who gives Watford the lead there. But here comes City now down the right-hand side with Jesus trying to play a quick 1-2 with Bernardo Silva. The ball deflected out by Kyle Walker-Peters. Throw on taken quickly by Bernardo, goes back towards Jesus, and then it was Kyle Walker trying to play one back to Jesus. He's just about kept in play, and the home side still in possession, but they're having to go back towards the halfway line now. Here is Nathan Ake playing it square to Ruben Diaz. Diaz now to Kyle Walker. Here is Fernandinho playing that ball forward, picked up now by Jack Stevens, fed quickly through towards Adam Armstrong, and he spots the run down the right-hand side here of Livramento, but he runs straight into João Cancelo. Cancelo then dispossesses him, tries to go on the run himself. Livramento, good on him, he wins the ball straight back for Southampton, and he plays the cross into the box. It's volleyed up in the air by Kyle Walker. And picked up in midfield now by Romeo. But that was good. I mean, you'd have fancied once Cancelo dispossessed the young and inexperienced Livramento, that would be it. But not only did he get back, he got the ball back and kept possession up for Southampton as well.
Cancelo sort of took the initial initiative with a really good tackle, didn't he? And then suddenly Livramento got his own back, and he did really well. And consequently, nearly started an attack there for Southampton. And he might have another opportunity to create something.
Yeah,
here.
They've got more space down the right-hand side. Here is Livramento now. He finds Elanusi, who dummies the ball to no one. He actually had enough space to take that ball on and run into the box himself, but he preferred to dummy it for a teammate, and then the ball just got cleared away. It's out for a throw now to Man City. In fact, John Moss is... no, it is going to be a throw to City. I think he's just pointing for the throw on taker to go back a little bit. As we can see, Phil Foden on the Man City bench. He is joined by Kevin De Bruyne, as well as Josh Wilson-Esbrand, Cole Palmer, Romeo Lavia, Riyad Mahrez, Ferran Torres, Luke Mbete Tatu, and goalkeeper Scott Carson. So there's a few younger players on the bench for City this afternoon. As for Southampton, they have Ibrahima Diallo, as well as Romain Perraud, Nathan Teller, Lineker, Jan Valery, Armando Broja, Mohamed Salisu, Musa Djenepo, and goalkeeper Fraser Forster on the bench. And this is a stat I was not expecting when I found out I was commentating on this game, that we've had 20 minutes played, we've had 2 attempts on goal, and they've both been from Southampton. City have not had a shot on goal yet in 21 minutes of play. That's pretty much unheard of in a home game for Pep Guardiola's side, I would imagine, but they're trying to generate something here now, and Sterling's ball down at the edge of the area. John Moss plays the advantage, played over towards the right-hand side. Now Walker-Peters lifts across in towards the back post, and it's headed over the bar. Once again, Gundogan being the most forward player there for City, and it's away for a goal kick.
Yeah, we said, didn't we, there, that it had been a long time, 20 minutes for Man City not to have had a shot. Well, it came pretty soon enough after that. It's a good ball, isn't it, from Kyle Walker, whisks it in on that right-hand side, the head goes up, and you have to say, actually, that's a really good ball in there. Gundogan should have perhaps done a little bit better.
Should have done. He was leaning back a little bit. It was fired in his direction, as we can see here. A lot of pace in this cross from Kyle Walker. He was probably hoping that Gundogan would score, because I think sometimes unfairly Walker always gets tagged as this busy and fast and good defender, but someone who doesn't always have the distribution, which I think is unfair. He does have a good pass and a good cross on him. I just think that compared to perhaps other England right-backs, there might be ones that are more confident and more proficient in that particular role. But it was not too far away from Gundogan, and City coming again now down the left-hand side. The ball played back to João Cancelo, and he's got a couple of options. He plays the ball in towards Grealish. He had an overlap with Bernardo, but he first to go back to João Cancelo. The ball is charged down by Romeu, and City in possession, but having to track back towards their own half now with Nathan Ake laying it square to Ruben Diaz. But straight away, City were in comfortable possession there. They only had a couple of passes in their own half, and there were 2 Southampton players pressing, so they're doing what they can to try and upset the rhythm here.
Yeah, absolutely they are, and they don't look totally at ease, City, do they? You know, they're on their own patch. What you don't want to do is make them feel as comfortable as they possibly can. You don't want them to dominate possession, you don't want to give them loads of chances, and so far they've set up perfectly defensively, the Saints. They pressed when they needed, so they look solid enough in midfield. Romeo's providing a bit of protection. It's key, I think, getting to half-time. If they could get to half-time without conceding one, they don't want to fall behind first in this game, do they?
No, that's absolutely not. That would be the problem for Southampton if they were to concede first, and you just feel that City would feel that as a lot of the pressure is off, and now there's some space here for City down the left-hand side. A ball played into the 6-yard box, and it's Bednarek sliding in, killing all the pace of that cross. It was Jack Grealish. He's looking getting more and more involved on the left-hand side here for Man City. Gets this ball in, and Bednarek, well, as the longer that the back pass rule has been in football, the harder it seems to be to get a free kick for a back pass. I mean, certainly back in the 90s, what Bednarek there would have been classed as him passing the ball back to his keeper there. But these days, I think it has to be even more blatant than that.
Yeah, it's an unusual argument, isn't it, that one? But it's a crucial intervention in the end, and it could have gone anywhere, really, that as he swung a foot out. Just managed to get enough control on it, and again, City are through here.
There you go, they've broken the offside trap. The ball now lifted to the edge of the 6-yard box. Kyle Walker-Peters doesn't want to take any chances. He heads it behind for a corner. There were too many players around. Well, we've reached the 24th minute now here at the Etihad Stadium. It is still goalless between City and Southampton. It will be James to take us through to half-time.
Yeah, thank you very much. Just starting to warm up this game a little bit now, isn't it? City are growing into it, which is concerning from a Southampton point of view, and they've got to switch on here for this set piece, which Gundogan will take now. Sticks his hands up to indicate he's about to deliver the ball, and it's going to be an outswinger. You've got the likes of Ake and Diaz who'll be looking to attack this. Here it comes in. The heads go up there. Ake's at the far post. It's good from McCarthy, who gets there and sticks an arm out. Raheem Sterling's there. Goes back into the middle of the park now. Bernardo Silva showing for it. Again, the press comes out from Saints. They've got to be sharp on that. And again, it's good that it cut down any sort of option for Bernardo Silva to play that killer pass there. And they're sticking with it now. They're putting a bit of pressure on Diaz, and he works out to that right-hand side there. There's a bit of support there from Silva. He goes down. The challenge comes in. Is that a foul there? Yeah, the bodies were on it. But it's working, this press, isn't it, for Saints? The likes of Bernardo Silva, you don't want to give them too much time on the ball, but you've got to be, can't be too eager to give a foul away as they have done there.
No, and although referees are supposed to be a little bit more lenient in terms of contact, if you put any kind of pressure on someone like Bernardo Silva, he is going to show the referee that he was fouled. And as you say, I think it's the way that Elanusi just ran up to him. They're probably a little bit too keen to try and win that back. But City with a left-footed and right-footed option here in Bernardo and Gundogan.
Embarrassment of riches for the set piece for Manchester City. Bernardo Silva is the man who I think will take this one on the in-swinger, although there is the option of Gundogan on the outswinger as well, and it's Silva. Is he going to step over the ball? Bit of a delay there. I don't know if that's a planned move from City, and it's a decent ball in there. The hand is swung out from McCarthy. Sterling's picked it up on the edge of the area, cuts inside on his right foot. That's good pressure there from Ward-Prowse, pushing it back. They're doing a really good job of that, our Saints, but they've got to be careful they don't get unlocked, which they have been here with Sterling, who cuts inside, gets the shot away. It was drifting. It looked as if it might have turned it into that far right-hand corner. Not a bad effort, that one.
No, it wasn't a bad effort. Southampton are just perhaps guilty of being pushed back a little bit too close to their own penalty area here. 2 or 3 times now they've had goal kicks and the ball just comes straight back at them. But Sterling on this occasion, well, he's trying to get the curl. He opens up that right foot to get the curl on. It doesn't quite manage it, and it whistles past the post. But in the last 3 or 4 minutes, the probability of City scoring has just gone up now, hasn't it?
Yeah, they're turning up the pressure, turning up the tempo, and Saints are dealing with it as well as they can. The danger, I guess, of when they're activating that press, which they've done so efficiently, that only takes one mistake, one intricate through ball, which City is so capable of, and they could unlock the key to the Southampton defence. Ake has it now. He puts it out to that left-hand side where Cancelo's blocked. That's a really good challenge in there from Livramento. It's been a really good battle on that far right-hand side between those two. Romeo's there in the middle now. He heads it back. Kyle Walker-Peters is there too on the left-hand side. He knocks the ball over the top to no one. You've just got to be careful they don't tuck into the shells now, Southampton. I mean, they started brightly, but it can be intimidating, can't it, once to get more and more of the ball.
As it stands now, there's nowhere for Southampton to go because they haven't got any possession, and if they push too high up, chances are there'll be a quick ball down one of the channels, and all of a sudden they've got too many players too far up the field. So they are still trying to press high. We can see there's 5 Southampton players here in the City half, but City's still able to move it around fairly easily.
Yeah, one thing City aren't short of is patience. They'll happily build up until they crack open a defence, and they might do it here. That's a lovely one too. Out to Jesus on the right hand side, slides the ball across goal. The bodies were coming in there. Bernardo Silva, I think it was at the far post there. Started with Sterling, who picked it up, played it out to Jesus. He put a delicious ball across. Bernardo Silva is attacking it at that far left hand post, and he couldn't quite get a leg on it, could he?
No, he couldn't. He wasn't too far away at all as this ball was played across again. The chances are starting to stack up here. McCarthy almost assumed that the City man wasn't going to get there, but he wasn't too far away. And I'll tell you what, so far, you've got to say that Jesus is looking good in this wide right position.
Yeah, it is a more unfamiliar role and a tactical masterpiece from Pep Guardiola, who knows, but City are starting to edge their way towards that Man City goal more and more in this game. The chances are coming that little bit more clinical, and ultimately they might take one, but this time it's the Saints have an opportunity as they look to get in behind here. Eliusu's chasing there, he's done well there, forced Nathan Ake to put it out for a throw. Looked comfortable enough in this game as the Dutchman. Nobody centre-half partner Ruben Diaz. No John Stones, of course, for Man City. Been injured, saw him feature for England in those recent internationals over in Poland, but he's not really had a look in so far for Manchester City this season. And as it bounces around in the middle of the City half, they've not really cleared the lines well there. This time it's Nathan Ake who does it. He swings his right foot onto it there, and they just can't get out of their own half here, City. They just need to calm down, get the ball on the ground and do what they do best, which is play it out from the back. In the end, the result just goes back to Edison. A little bit of time in the box there, not really much of a press being offered by Armstrong. They've worked that out now with Diaz. Goes back to Edison. Pressure there from Redmond is there. But they work it out so well, so comfortably, and they're just waiting for that slight chink to appear in the Southampton defence where they can do one of those intricate through balls, but they've been a little bit careless there and giving it away in the middle of the park. Ward-Prowse looks to slide through a ball. Just a little bit frantic from City this past minute.
It is a little bit, yeah. I think what they're frustrated by is that they've had a couple of moments where they really look to be in the ascendancy, but Southampton have still responded. And there, again, City on the counter-attack, looking like they were going to catch Southampton out with a man over on that left-hand side, but once again, Livramento with a good challenge. Southampton are looking, I've got a steeliness about them, which is impressive. The question is, can they hold out until half-time? And do they have a plan B if they do concede? That's the question. But City coming forward again.
Yeah, you imagine that would suit City nicely if they were to get a goal and then they'd force Saints to push out more and more, and thus more gaps would open in the Saints' defence. Kyle Walker has it on this right-hand side. It's a pretty audacious ball over the top, which was a good one, but the flag has gone up on that near side. He was looking for Jesus. A bit unusual for City to go for such a direct approach there. It was a looping ball over the top looking for Jesus. Decent enough ball, but ultimately Jesus was just a yard or two offside. So the free kick is taken there by Kyle Walker-Peters. It's gone back to McCarthy, who launches it long, deep inside the City half. Ruben Diaz gets his head on it, then lands on the head of Kyle Walker. It's in the middle now with Fernandinho, plays it to Grealish, who turns and plays it to Cancelo, who's bombing down that left-hand side. He's got the support in the middle, but there might be a crossing opportunity here. He puts it onto the head. Oh, they've not cleared the lines properly at all there, Saints. It lands onto the foot of Jesus, who lashes it on his left foot on the half volley. The block comes in there. That was a decent opportunity for City. They've recovered quite well here, have the Saints, but they've got to be careful as Grealish has got it now on the edge of the area. The challenge comes in. They're looking for the foul there, but it's been given the other way, has it? No, the referee's pointed in the direction of the goal, and there's a bit of confusion there whether to the foul was actually being given. Both players playing on, but yeah, it was a coming together, and it's a free kick for City in a decent position.
It is. Yeah, I mean, Jack Stevens is obviously playing dumb, saying he had no idea. I don't know why Bernardo's so upset by this, because he was never going to take a quick free kick there anyway. It was always going to be a set piece where everyone gets into the box and tries to wait. I mean, I think that the argument there is that Stevens felt that he was being pushed over. The referee didn't give it for the push, but he gave it for the handball as Stevens was hitting the ground. And I think that's why there was just that little bit of confusion.
They've got to keep the temperament, have the Saints in this game if they want to get anything from their visit to the Etihad. They've got to be disciplined, they've got to be ruthless in defence, and they probably have to ride the luck a little bit at times. They've not to do that yet in this game. There was that half chance for Bernardo Silva, who just missed out getting a foot on it. Seeing Jan Bendarak block a nice ball across as well. So they've had the odd half chance of City, but they haven't managed to find the back of the net yet. They might have the opportunity here. As the ball comes in, it's a cross-come shot from the free kick. Is he looking to put that in the top right-hand corner?
I think he is. I think Gundogan is trying to surprise McCarthy there, which I think is a mistake, because having seen Southampton so many times, McCarthy is probably a better shot stopper than he is at claiming crosses. So I'd prefer to put a ball into that little corridor of uncertainty, edge of the 6-yard box, get someone like Diaz or Ake jumping with the goalkeeper, and I think that would have given City more of a chance. But we can see the possession stat there, James. City 78% to Southampton's 22 in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, just an indication of how this momentum has shifted more and more into City's favour as the half has gone on. There's been another foul given in the middle of the park there. Yeah, got to be careful there, the Saints. It's been a little bit sloppy and starting to give more and more away, maybe as they start to tire a little bit after 32 or so minutes in this half. And of course there's no chance for a breather as City are straight back on the emphasis there. They've got it with Ruben Diaz. Is he going to shuffle it out to this right-hand side? No, he takes it into the middle, then he plays it to Kyle Walker. Walker sticks his head up and puts it out to the right-hand side where Jesus is. He cuts inside, he's giving the ball away in midfield, he's looking for Fernandinho. It's been picked up there by Armstrong, who drops back well, lays it off, and then picks up the 1-2 ball. He's got it on that right-hand side now as Adam Armstrong. He's got the crossing opportunity. Ake's got across there, looking to marshal him out. Villaremento's there. They go all the way back to their own half, Saints, but it's starving City with a bit of possession, giving the Saints a bit of a breather. And Jack Stevens has just pulled up there. He received the ball at his feet, and then he passed the ball out of play, and he's crumbled to the ground. He's holding his knee there.
Not looking good, this, is it? No, it's not looking good at all here for Jack Stevens. We'll have to wait and see whether or not he can play on. Kante, there's another goal been scored in the Premier League. It's now at Burnley 0, Arsenal 1. Martin Ødegaard with a goal for Arsenal. And as I mentioned, Norwich 0, Watford 1. with Emmanuel Dennis with the goal. Still 0-0 between Liverpool and Palace, and indeed 0-0 in our game as well. The late kick-off also available on our service at 5:30 will be Aston Villa against Everton. Stevens actually knew he had a problem even before he got the ball, didn't he? He says, right, this is it. And is it the lower thigh or is it the knee joint? But he knows straight away that something isn't right. And he probably isn't too happy that he had to play that ball with his injured leg as well. But I never like to say things too soon, but it doesn't look like he's going to be coming back on the field, does it?
No, it doesn't. When it's not an impact injury, which we don't think it is at the minute, and someone's pulled up off the ball like that, it is generally concerning signs. And as I say, he probably won't be too grateful for his teammates that when he was limping away there, that the ball was played back to him, but it at least had allowed him to stick a foot out and break up the play and put an end. He can sit down, have a breather. But looking at the substitutions bench now for the Saints, it looks as if he is coming off.
It does, yeah. And it's going to be Mohamed Salisu getting ready to come on. Ghanaian international. He seems like he's already got his kit on, ready to come on. 35 minutes gone here, independent off-tube studio commentary. Goalless between Manchester City and Southampton. And although Southampton won't be pleased about having to lose one of their starting defenders, this injury and this little time-out, if you like, comes at a time when City were just starting to grow. So that just perhaps kills the pace of the game a little bit, and it just gives Southampton more time to regroup as well.
Yeah, it's not bad timing, is it, for it to happen? It's halted momentum, like you say, for City. But it is a blow, because Stevens and Ben Derek have started the game pretty brightly. When you start then to break up a centre-half partnership, obviously it's going to take a minute or two just for him to settle Salisu, and therefore you worry a bit. But in terms of halting momentum, having a breather, it's probably not the worst thing for the Saints, but they are going to miss Stevens.
They are, yeah, and it's not ideal for Stevens that he's having to go off around about the halfway line, but on the opposite side to where the benches are. So he's going to have a bit of a walk now, Jack Stevens, before he can finally get to that dressing room. But a confirmation that Jack Stevens is off. Did think it was Salisu, and a confirmation as well that it is Mohamed Salisu coming on to replace Jack Stevens. Salisu, who's had a few games at centre-back, had a few games at left-back as well. I can't imagine they're going to be changing with the youngsters Livramento and Walker-Peters down the sides. So Salisu will join Bednarek. Just moves over to the left of the two centre-backs, seeing as he is more of a left-footer. But so now, with just under 10 minutes to go, Southampton will be looking to try and stop City again. Yeah, they certainly will. There'll be a minute or two added on, I'm sure, at the end of this half for that, as McCarthy launches it long out his hand. There's a flick on there by Adams, but ultimately it has trickled out for a throw. City will look to restart the engine now after that break in play. Xiao Cancelo has it at the back, takes the throw. Fernandinho drops to support him and he plays it back to Cancelo, puts a direct ball over the top looking for Sterling, who's wrestling with it there. It drops into midfield now where Jesus picks it up. He's enjoying cutting inside from that wing position, something we've not seen too much of him from in his Man City career so far. Maybe we'll do in the future, who knows. Diaz has it now at the back, finds Nathan Ake. He looks for support in the middle, he finds it with Fernandinho. It's good pressure there from the Saints. They're looking to force the error there, but ultimately the composure of the Brazilian means he can play his way out of there, and he carries it over the halfway line now. He puts it out to that left-hand side, but he hasn't quite put enough on the passer. It's been intercepted by Livramento, who charges forward. It's a really good run from him. There might be a crossing opportunity. Plays it down there. Oh, and he just couldn't hold it under his foot. Oh, Nathan Ake recovered really, really well there. That was a swift break from Livramento. Find Armstrong, who just got it caught under his feet. Such a shame that for Adam Armstrong, who is normally very decisive. He gets that ball in the box, he knows what he wants, but perhaps that ball, I'm not going to criticise Livramento at all because the run was great, but perhaps that ball could have been half a yard ahead of Armstrong, or he should have perhaps got himself into a slightly better position so he could have taken that ball on the run. As it was, he had to check his run a little bit, and that gave a chance for Ake to recover, and as you mentioned, James, he recovered very well, but Southampton's still in possession.
Yeah, needless to say, the ball is in a good area for the Saints. It was deep inside the City half, but in the end they've gone all the way back to their own half, as poor Jack Stevens, as you said, has had to...
It's only about halfway back to the dressing room now, isn't he? He's still got a long way to go there, Stevens.
Yeah, it was previously an athletics track at this stadium. He's had to do a full lap of the pitch, and the ball has gone out on that far-hand side, as it now. It's thumped forward, it's gone into the arms of Edison, and they don't break for a minute, do they, City? As soon as it goes into the arms of Everton, he releases it straight away as he looked to spring an attack, and they've done that really well. That is such swift passing from City, very pleasing on the eye. They worked it all the way up to Jesus, who has it on that right hand side. He cuts inside well though, and it's really good defending there from the Saints. certainly marshalled those City attackers as well as he possibly could have done in this game. And they released the ball into midfield now with Eliosu. He looks for the support in front of him. They're just lacking that clinicalness in that final third.
They are. They are. I mean, it's a problem, I think, for a lot of teams that go to these big grounds like the Etihad and are in a little bit of good form, a little bit of good possession. They just need that one good pass, and sometimes they need 2 or 3 goals to get that one good pass, and you just won't get that sort of opportunity at the Etihad. But again, a good break out there from Southampton. Perhaps Elyounoussi was just a bit worried about playing the ball too far away from Armstrong, so in the end he went the other way and just underhit it slightly. But a real battle for it in midfield, and it is City that come away with it.
Yeah, and the more minutes that Saints have with the ball, the more time it is away from those City's attackers who will be looking to score, and they might have an opportunity here to do so with Jack Grealish, who gets to the byline, he eased past the defender, put the ball across goal. The Saints wall was there, it was Romeo who was there to help out. He got the block, and as I touched on it, there's no minute for rest for City yet again on the counter. Grealish shrugs off the defender there. It's an outside of the foot cross, it's a clever one. And no, it wasn't. I'm sure I see who it was now. I think it was Cancelo on that far hand side who beat the defender really well. It was a stylish cross, wasn't it, on the outside of the foot. And of all the areas City are looking to target the Saints on, it seems to be on that far side, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. It does seem as though they've looked at Livramento and Walker-Peters. They're both young players, but Walker-Peters clearly with a lot more experience in first-team football than Livramento. Worryingly for Southampton, Livramento just to hit the deck. He's back on his feet now. He needs to get into the box quickly because City have a corner on the right and it's going to be a left-footed in-swinger. No, it's just a short ball here, it looks like, from Bernardo Silva.
Yeah, the corner count is rising for Man City, but they haven't gone direct with this one. They've worked it out to Grealish in the middle. He played it back to Gundogan. It's 1-2. Grealish has it on the edge of the D there. He looks for the shot, does he know? He dummies it and plays it to Fernandinho. Dinks a ball over the top. That was a really neat ball over. He looked for his Brazilian teammate Gabriel Jesus, who just got his head on it there, and I'm just wondering if he was offside there. He didn't look too disappointed with the result. We'll see it again on our pictures. No, he timed his one really well.
Looked like he would have been alright there, I think. Yeah, if that ball had gone in, I think VAR probably would have looked at it because it was close, but it certainly looked as though he was okay, especially now that they're supposed to be a little bit more lenient with these pencil-thin lines that we saw over the first 2 years of video replays. But yeah, again, the last few minutes, City just growing in confidence, just seeing more possession. But still, not really too much work for McCarthy. Plenty of work for his defenders, but most of the efforts are off target for the time being.
Yeah, you just wonder how long this will go without City getting some sort of lead in this game. He can grow and grow in confidence as a visiting side to the Etihad, but they can deal you a cruel blow at any point in this game. Can't City? They're so dangerous, and they've got a bit of quality on the bench to bring on if they need to as well. But they've got possession in the middle of the park now with Diaz. It's worked out well to that right hand side, and Jesus, he started the game okay on that far sort of inside wing position, but he's looking a bit more unnatural there now, it has to be said. He's given the ball away in the process. There might be a chance here on the counter-attack for Southampton. It was Redmond who picked the ball up, he got to the byline, he put the ball across goal. It was a really decent chance there for Southampton, and a little bit wasteful, you have to say.
A little bit, yeah, because he was looking for Shea Adams, and you could see Adam Armstrong with his arms up at the far post thinking that he might have got that ball and he would have had a great chance to put Southampton in front. But it just shows you this is not, I mean, you can see Harsson was getting frustrated because there's a great effort from his side, but he knows that City aren't firing on all cylinders, and are Southampton going to regret the fact that they haven't perhaps capitalised on this in the first half?
Yeah, you can't quite emphasise the crucialness of Saints taking any opportunity that they do get. We've touched on it already. The last thing they want to do is concede first in this game. They need to get some sort of a lead to hold on to, you would imagine, although if they can keep City at bay in terms of getting a goal, then you never know. There's always the opportunity for them to sting them on the counter, but the way it looks, you think City are going to dominate position for the majority of this game, as they have done so far in this first half period. Here's Diaz, slides the ball through looking for Sterling, who has his back to goal. He wins it well, does Sterling, got the support in the middle of the park. It ends up back with Fernandinho. Now it's with Cancelo on that left hand side as the tempo of the game just drops for a little bit here as City look to pass the ball around a bit, look maybe for an option up front. They've got the movement of Grealish, the options of Sterling as well, and this is patient build-up play there. They're just trying to halt that Southampton press, aren't they? And it's out with Kyle Walker on that right-hand side. He plays it back in the middle to Nathan Ake. Ake sticks his head up. He's got options ahead of him. Who's he going to find? He finds it in the middle now with Silva. Back to Fernandinho. Fernandinho turns, looks to find Gundogan. He's given the ball away, and they release Romeo there. And he's played the ball through here. Here's Armstrong. He's put out to the left-hand side. Can there be a cross opportunity? A strike comes in. It's a decent effort at the end from Aliasu. And again, the work and the opportunities into those decent areas, the Saints. The finishing's not just been strong enough.
No, it hasn't. As you say, it was a good effort because he got it on target, but there's no real power. I mean, I can't think of any occasion when Edison wouldn't make a save with that particular effort, and that's the disappointment for Southampton. They have either lacked that final pass into the box, or where they've got the final pass into the box, the finish has eluded them. We've got around 30 seconds before we hit injury time, and this is not the game, I think, that most people at the Etihad, including the Southampton fans who've travelled up, I don't think they were expecting this in the first half at all.
Yeah, they've made the long journey up from St Mary's, haven't they, those Saints fans, and they'll be very, very pleased if they can go into the break level, and they're not far away from doing it. This Southampton team under Ralph Hasenhüttl City, well, they've been firing on all cylinders, but they've been by no means poor in this game. They've worked a couple of opportunities, and they've been very, very patient and buying their time and looking to deal that clinical blow that they're so capable of doing.
Absolutely, yeah. 2 minutes of injury time has just been displayed. City on the attack. We're the only goalless game now, with Liverpool leading against Palace after a goal from Sadio Mane. Norwich have equalised at home to Watford with a goal from Timu Pukki. Here come City down the left, but the ball is hooked out from the penalty area by Romeo.
Yeah, can they see this out now? Southampton, they've not got long to do so, but the ball is in a dangerous area for City as Silva finds Jack Grealish. Grealish puts the ball. Jesus is at the far post. It was a floating ball in from Grealish. It was a decent one. But if the balls are going to come in from a crossing opportunity, you'd imagine that Saints would be comfortable enough with that.
They will be, yeah, unless they're just not marking. But if they've got the people in the right position, as Walker Peters was there, he's able to nod it out now. A short corner played to Kyle Walker. And he's already been closed down by his namesake, same player, same number on his shirt as well. And City don't use the corner at all. They're back on the halfway line now.
Yeah, very wasteful that. They've gone from front to back, and it's on the halfway line now with Kyle Walker, who puts a superb ball there all the way out to that far hand side where Jack Grealish controls it ever so well on his chest, and he's bringing in defenders now, cuts back inside. Got to be quick here if they want to have one last opportunity in this first half. Manchester City, Walker's calling for it in the middle now. Gundogan's there as well. He turns, plays it back to Cancelo, who's moved out to the right hand side now, and it's pushed out there. Here's Silva. What can Silva do? There might be a crossing opportunity here. Nathan Redmond's backtracking on there. He's played to the edge of the D. Shot comes in there from Fernandinho. Diaz it is now with an effort as well. This is really, really patient play from Southampton. They're putting everyone back. They're blocking it. And so far, it looks now if it's going to be level at half-time.
It does, yeah. It looks as though Southampton have weathered this first half storm, which is always the hardest time, although there's still one more ball played to the edge of the area. This time, I think everyone, including Raheem Sterling, knew that he was offside. So that will be a free kick, and by the time it's taken, we would have had the full 2 minutes. So it looks like a job well done here by Southampton.
Yeah, job well done indeed. Ralph Hasenhüttl will be absolutely delighted. His only criticism that Saints could perhaps be a little bit more clinical. 0-0, it finishes at half-time at the Etihad.